Ah, it's working now. Alright. I don't know what it is with my computer. The computer goes into this slow motion state. I thought it had to do with the internet, but I guess not necessarily has to be on the internet. I am not on the internet. I turned the internet off in the computer because I'm in the photo and video program now, and even in the photo and video program, the camera program, it suddenly did this. That's the first time it has done this, and it makes these weird sounds, and then it goes into slow motion, and then it didn't even do the recording. So I can tell because the recording count wasn't showing on the top. So I had to turn the camera program off, and it had to stay off for a moment, for a couple of minutes or a minute or something. And then I turned it back on, and now it's finally working. I guess what it is there are Chinese spyware programs in this computer, and people like Patrick Rove, which is not his name, of course, who accuses me of being a spy, which is always interesting, the double standard, the projection. Yeah. So he accuses me of being a comrade spy for Vladimir Putin. So, and also for Karl Dönitz, of course, but I'm sure Karl Dönitz doesn't exist anymore. I mean, that was a long time ago. He'd be 130 years old or something. I'm guessing, no, I don't know, at least 120 years old. So he's probably, unless he's taking in Antarctica in that cave system, unless he's taking some kind of youth elixir and stays hidden in there. So I mean, that's I am not even just joking about this. I am not even so totally surprised about all of these new theories or reports, conspiracies and stuff like that. I mean, I have the feeling all conspiracies are true by now, so that's what I feel like. And yeah, that is a little bit on the delusional side, but I don't know. I have the feeling it is all true, all of it. Karl Dönitz in Antarctica, and there are draconians, because I have seen a draconian. Okay, so I'm seriously not joking about it. I have seen a draconian when I was 11 years old, when I had high fever. And it was because of the fever that my discrimination ribbon in the brain was put on hold for a moment. Okay, and when that's put on hold, I see a heart there. The sun is projecting hearts onto the greenhouse. That's so cute. Oh my gosh. And the tree, the rhododendron brush and the ivy and all of that, projecting a beautiful, beautiful heart onto the greenhouse. That is so nice. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, all of you beings and energies and forces. The sun is a force, a beautiful force. So I just want to show real quickly. This is ET Spaceship 9, Stargate Galactica. You see, this is a portal. This is in progress. This will take me several months, at least. to get this done, maybe half a year even, because I paint slow on this and thinks the paint has to dry, and then I can do another application. I do several applications, and then I have to also paint on the white over there, and probably going to paint more shrubs and trees and flowers over these two figures there. And then there's a figure on the top, and there is the tree of life in the way I would paint this, and there's a monster with an eye. That was also the rest of the liquid nails that was getting really, really firm like clay, and I stuck it on there, and it works very well. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm working on this here in the greenhouse, and I finished these here. Those are finished now. Those 3 clay figures, they are for Stargate Galactica, and I will make more of course for this, because that's a real large spaceship. And this obviously it came with the washing machine, oversized washing machine. This was holding the washing machine in place. Beautiful, beautiful formation, and I thought this makes the perfect Stargate Galactica portal. Yes, this is the Blue God portal. It is. So, and this board there is a piece of 2x4 that I painted, and it looks really, really good with infinity signs on it. So I think I'm gonna go outside. Look at this beautiful English laurel. I always keep it nice and trimmed. Paul, against my will, cut a hole on the top to let more sun into the garden, which made me really mad. It looked so plucked out, but it's growing back now, thank goodness. So it's growing back in everything, and I trim it. I keep it trimmed on the sides into a cube for as tall as I can trim it. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful English laurel. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous, and very, very tall. Like, I don't know, it's like 30 feet tall, maybe 40. Very gorgeous. So, and these are all gorgeous. All of those beautiful, the rhododendron. So it looks really nice. Beautifully trimmed. I love that. Beautifully trimmed hedge in front of a lawn. I absolutely love it. If I had a really large garden, that's how I would trim the hedges that are going all the way along the fence around the garden, and have a lawn in the middle. And maybe create an artwork, very large artwork for the garden that is weatherproof, and I would put that in front of the hedge, and that would look so amazing, so incredibly amazing. So I have this cooler here. I'm gonna sit on this cooler. So yeah, now the light is obviously not practical right now for this. How do I do it? I would have to move this ice chest, but I don't want this to be grinding on the bottom. I can't move this and hold this computer at the same time. So I guess I'll just go back into the greenhouse. I guess that's what I'm gonna do. Yes. So, yes, that's what I'm doing. Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's make a video. It's cold, but still want to make a video in here. I have my office chair in here now, which is more comfortable. And this office chair pivots, and this is more practical for this greenhouse because the floor is full of dirt and sticks and stuff, and the other chair that wasn't working very well. It was always lopsided, and this one I only have to pivot. I don't have to move the bottom. The wheels don't even wheel in here, but that's okay. So it's my workspace now. It's a really nice workspace, and obviously the storm has done some damage, and we had to put these wood scrap beams up there to keep the tarp up so that the rain would not puddle up on the side of the roof. So like putting some kind of really heavy puddle on it. And so because we didn't know that this would happen, it actually collapsed the whole greenhouse at some point, and then we had to reinforce it and repair a bunch of stuff. A lot. It's not very strong. It's not very sturdy. These metal beams that are holding the greenhouse up, they're hollow. They break really, really easily. So it's not a very strong structure at all. That's why I'm always saying, when you get a greenhouse, you have to get a commercial greenhouse. You can't get a greenhouse like this here that is soft and that will be blown over by the wind. Even though this is in a wind shadow, this garden here, the wind still got in, and windstorm, heavy windstorm, rainstorms were really doing a lot of damage on this. And we had this greenhouse over there on the cement slab before, when the baby dog threw himself against it and threw some of my paint down, and it ended up splashing on the cement. That didn't work out at all because the storm was constantly moving it around, and also the baby dog was pushing it, and if I don't pay attention, then he could damage the sides and the plastic material. So here it is a little bit more secured, but the baby dog still throws himself against it, but it's more secured here, I guess. I don't want him hurting himself. He goes completely berserk sometimes. He runs around the garden because he needs a lot more space. These type of dogs need a lot of space. They need hundreds of acres to run full speed. They have so many muscles. I mean, they have an enormous muscle mass in the body, and they need to use that. The body needs to use that in order to create endorphins. And so this is not the ideal situation, but we are going to buy land in the desert, and we will have more space there, about 7 acres. It's not ideal either. It's not 100 acres, but 7 acres is good. It's okay for a Staffordshire, an Amstaff. So, and then we will have to fence it all around, put strong fencing around it, and then I want to grow a hedge all the way around it. And there this property that I hope we get, it has hot springs on the property, and we will be able to irrigate the entire area with water, like drip irrigation system with meandering hoses or something like this, and also meandering pipes under in a cement foundation of some sort, or if we create a cement foundation, we might not even create a cement foundation and just lay a meandering stainless steel pipe, or probably stainless steel pipe into the ground, and that will also release water for the plants, and it will radiate heat into the space. So, and then we want to put the greenhouse on top of it, and then the heat will stay in the greenhouse. It will be the greenhouse effect, but in the real sense of the word, in a good way. So without unnatural gases. So this will be all natural and sustainable, with hot spring heating. That's really the ultimate. And then have a hot spring pool to go into every day. It's my ultimate dream come true. That's what I want to do with my life. That is what I envision for my retirement, So to be able to go into a hot spring pool that is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You get up, whatever, in the morning or at noon, which we do, and I take my pajama off and I go into the hot spring pool. That's the first thing I will do every day. And I'll be in there for hours and hours and hours. I mean, that's the ultimate paradise. That's what I think. That would be so amazing. And then, we're already living like we're off-grid, but we're not off-grid here. But we learned to live off-grid, and we are practicing total independence already in our 2 homes that we have here. So we do composting and get our own fertile earth soil, and it's fully sustainable way of gardening. It's completely in tune with what Rudolf Steiner taught about biodynamic agriculture and sustainability. And then with hot springs, you have complete energy independence. You have your own heating system that is natural, and there's no radiation of any sort, right? So, and then we want to get Elon Musk's internet when we move to the desert, and eventually get the Cybertruck. But the Cybertruck is booked out way into the future, so it's like back ordered by 5 years or something. So many people want that Cybertruck. When you read the propaganda against them on the news, it's completely false and fake news. Completely. I mean, like, really completely fake news. What they're saying about Elon Musk, that people are selling their Tesla trucks. Yeah, of course they are, because they see their opportunity, because the waiting list is so long. That's why they're selling their Cybertrucks. Not because they don't want it. It's because they get not only the money back, but like double the money if they sell. So, and Elon Musk does not want people to do this. This is another form of exploitation that he himself does not want. See, he could. The demand is so high, he could sell a Cybertruck for, I would say, at least $200,000. He could. Easily. And it will still be back ordered. Way into the future. And that's why, but he is not the one that takes advantage of people. He would never take advantage. He cut the cost down where what he puts into the manufacturer of those Cybertrucks is the cost of that he puts into the manufacturer is reduced in order to have the Cybertruck reasonably priced for the public, so that everyone or almost everyone can afford one, right? That's what a good Samaritan, what a kind-hearted person does, right? But then what do the other people do? They buy one and then they resell it for as high of a price as they can get, and they can get a very high price for that. And that's why he made it now where when you buy the Cybertruck and you actually get the Cybertruck, when you finally get it after waiting for a long time because it's back ordered, because so many people want it, right? If you finally get it, you're not allowed to resell it for 2 years. And he does that not because he wants to give people a hard time, but he does that to be fair to the public and to the other customers. I hope that is making a lot of sense what I'm saying now, because he does not want some crooked customers do a short sale with his cars and trucks or other machines. And it's not that he's mad that he's not getting the extra money. He's mad that these people are then making this market space for his amazing trucks and cars. It's the short sellers that are making this marketplace problematic then for all the other people that have been wanting one and waiting for one and not being able to afford such high prices that these quick, these flip type of short sellers then are asking for the trucks. So it's exactly reversed from how it is portrayed by the news, okay, obviously. So, and there may be some people that are dropping out because they don't want to wait that long, okay. That's the whole reason why, because otherwise they would really be they'd be thrilled if they could have the truck sooner. So we wanted to make an order. We wanted to order a Cybertruck, but we have to be realistic. It will take a long time until we actually get the Cybertruck. And unfortunately, this van that we have right now, we have a Chevy City van that has a very low roof, and it's very narrow. It's like, I don't know, maybe 4 feet, a little bit over 4 feet wide, and just about, I don't know, 8 or 9 feet long. And that's just not large enough for our needs, for our travel needs also. Every time we traveled with the city van, I mean, I was glad we had it. It's better than the Prius we had before. Of course, the Prius, it was impossible to even sleep in that Prius. It was way too cramped. But then we got the city van for Kenny, our albino Great Dane, because Kenny could not even get into the Prius anymore. He outgrew the Prius, so he would have to duck down in order to even get into the Prius. And the ceiling of that Prius was plastered with his tiny little hairs, white hairs. So whoever bought this youth later on, they have the blue god hairs there forever, and that's a wonderful thing. That Prius is blessed by the blue god forever. So Kenny wouldn't go in there anymore. Paul had to get the city van. Actually, before he got the city van, Kenny and I would stay at home for over a year, just at the other house. And it's easy at the other house because the other house is like 3 times the size or 4 times the size as this house, with a very large garden, and it's very comfortable to live there and wonderful without ever even leaving that property. So Paul was the one that would take the Prius and go shopping and come back, and Kenny and I would not leave the house for over a year. And that was the best time in my life, actually, with Kenny at the other house. That was really the best time of my life, and I learned so much at the other house. I knew I would learn a lot at the other house. It wasn't always easy, but these 2-3 years before Kenny took his spacesuit off in 2016. So that time was once we were fully settled at the other house. It was around 2012. That's from 2012 to 2016, December 2016. That was the best time of my life. I mean, towards the end, the last couple of months were very painful because we knew Kenny's life was coming to an end. So, and that's always, it's Armageddon. I can't explain it in any other way. It's like, it felt for me the world was coming to an end. So the blue god going was the end of the world for me, and it felt like I wasn't going to survive that, and I almost didn't. So this was a very mysterious thing, what happened there, that suddenly I see a fully 100% pedigree show dog winner European Basset Hound 2 months later, and we weren't even really ready to get another dog, but I saw this prize winner Basset Hound, European Basset Hound, and I was like, okay, this dog looks like Bellingham Bassets, exactly. I didn't even know at that time the difference between European Basset Hounds and the American versions. So the American versions, because this country here is so unbelievably corrupt, that the corruption goes into any kind of niche and ditch, all the way from the top to all kinds of institutions and breeders and business owners and so on, so that a lot of people here have actually bred beagles into these original dogs that came from Europe. And because of that, they don't have the original, they don't have these really, really strong, thick tree trunk legs, the American version. So the European version, they have these really large tree trunk legs and this enormous, almost like a square cubic shape of a body, amazing, and with a lot of skin and very long ears. And Paul did not want to get him because he thought that's an unpractical dog, and I thought, no, I think that's a practical dog, I thought. And so I I wasn't sure first whether we should get him because he was already 7 years old, and I didn't know that he was almost 8 years old. We found out later, and then by the time we got him, he was already 8. And I wasn't sure because I wanted to leave Paul. I wanted to go to Thailand. So I was really not sure where I was going to go from there. So because I was in so much grief over Kenny that I was so psychologically struggling and suffering and mentally ill, and I felt like I needed to leave the United States. So I wasn't sure. I had already seen the papa on the internet, but then I couldn't get the papa out of my head. I just could not. I kept going back to that web page where they had a photo of him, and I thought, no, I'm gonna have to make an application for him. And he had a lot of applicants. And because I sent the foster mothers many photos of Kenny, but a video of Kenny and myself on the couch. And that video convinced them. It was the blue God really saying to them, give the papa to Nicola and Paul, because he will be the best, the happiest there. Okay. And so they were convinced, the blue God convinced them to hand him over to us, and we had to pay $250 for the adoption fee, which is okay. These dogs cost at least 10 in the end added to that price, so at least $2,500 at that time. Now they're $3,500 and even over $4,000 now at this point. Inflation and also the demand has risen for these dogs, so they have become more popular, they have become more known, they have become more famous, and I'm sure that I added to that fame with my videos, with the papa and all of that. But the papa saved my life. He sure did. So once we got the papa, Paul and I, we were both happy. And Paul said he feels fulfilled now. So he was really missing a dog. And then after the papa died, we didn't get a dog for 2 years until we got him, the Staffordshire. So that's the story. And I really have to say that the happiest time in my life was the blue god Kenny at the other house, singing and writing songs. Yeah, it was amazing. After that, I couldn't write songs anymore. I couldn't sing. I sang a few times when we had the papa, but I wasn't writing songs anymore. And maybe when I wrote one song. Yes, I wrote one song for Boris Johnson. No, that was after the papa left. Papa wasn't staying with us long because of his old age. So he got to be almost 11, not quite. So he stayed for almost 3 years with us. And that's wonderful that we had him in our life. Okay, absolutely wonderful. And I'm infinitely grateful to the blue god that he gave us the papa. So really wonderful. And those are precious years of my life. So then we got the Staffordshire and everything got turned upside down, literally, because we were not prepared for a Staffordshire and AM stuff. Okay, we had no idea how these dogs are, So that is not a retirement dog. So a Great Dane, a young Great Dane, is also not a retirement dog, because Kenny pulled Paul down many times, literally into the dirt. But a European Basset Hound, now that is the ultimate retirement dog. They really are, because they are okay with 1 acre, and they're not running very much. They run a little bit and then they have to rest. They're like, geez, this is wearing me out. They have to rest. They rest a lot, and they have to be on the couch, and they have to snuggle a lot and cuddle, and they also lie on their backs, and they need a lot of love. The European Basset Hounds, all dogs need a lot of love. So yeah, then when Paul got the Chevy City van, that was good for Kenny, because he finally had a vehicle where he could stand in it. But we never traveled with him. That would be impossible to travel in this city van with Kenny. Kenny was taking up most of the room inside of that cargo area. So, but we still got to go for day trips and hiking and all of that to the beach, and that was good. Now we were able to go to the beach again and enjoy nature, but not camping, not on camping trips. So the papa loved the van too. But yeah, then we took the papa on a camping trip with the city van, and that was in October, early November 2017, I think it was, or 2018, I don't remember exactly. We met Mr. Beast in the desert. So when he was in the desert, I think it was 2018 when Mr. Beast went into the desert with his friends. When he still had a box truck at that time. So, and they were flying kites there, and no, they were flying drones. No, I don't think they were flying. They were flying drones, yes. And they went kayaking in the Hot Spring River. So that was pretty neat. So that was Papa's first camping trip, and it was pretty awesome. It was nice. I mean, it was really, really, really a tight fit in the city van, Chevy city van. It was very cramped, but that was before Paul put the camp cot in it, and it was working fairly well, because the papa is like a bread roll. So they're like a bread roll. They don't have long legs. They have very, very short caterpillar legs, and they don't even dream. When they dream, they don't move very much. So the other dogs, when they dream, they kind of stab you with. They extend their legs out, and they're like running in the sleep, and then the fingernails would go against you at night and wake you up. So with the European Basset Hounds, they barely move in their dream, and the papa had a few nightmares where he woke up screaming, actually. I wonder what the papa has been through in his life before we adopted him. So, but for the camping trip, the papa, and I knew it instinctively that the papa would be ideal for camping in a very cramped space. So now we have him. He has short legs too, but they're obviously at least twice as long as the papa's, and he extends them out and pokes you, and he dreams very vividly, and he moves around. And even though he's a small dog, relatively small, I mean, like still medium-sized dog, but with a little bit longer legs. So he still stabs into people, and if you're camping in a cramped space, so they will poke you. And then he's also very agile. He jumps over you, or he jumps around, and then he digs into the blankets, and you have to make sure you cover him. These amp staffs, they have to be covered with a polar sleeping bag when you go camping. They have to be. They have almost no hair. They have tiny little hairs, even tinier than Kenny had. The papa had a little bit longer hair. The papa had like an inch of an overcoat hair and about half an inch of an undercoat hair. The European Basset Hounds, they have undercoat hair like down, which keeps them warm, and the overcoat hair is almost like a rain jacket, almost a little bit like a wetsuit. So the papa didn't mind going out in wind and storm into the garden, and he would do a zen walk really, really slowly, go all the way around, really slow, smelling everything. So he loved that, smelling everything. And one time there were pheasants out there on the other side of the fence, and I've never seen pheasants there before papa or ever after that day when we brought the papa home. So that was really something. And the Basset Hounds, they love pheasants, so they were actually bred for pheasant hunting, which I don't like. I don't like hunting, but the dogs, they're not active in the hunting process. The dogs are just they're retrieving the fallen pheasants and other birds. So they fetch dead birds basically out of brushes where other dogs or people can't get under. So the Basset, that's why the Basset, they're very low to the ground. That's why they kept these going. They were monks in France that had bloodhounds, and that was during the Middle Ages, somewhere around 1400, and all of a sudden the mother gives birth to dwarfs, and they were shocked about this. Wow, how does that come up? They didn't know anything about DNA and genes and dwarfism and all of this, but yeah, suddenly they had dwarf children, and these monks, they were excited about that. They thought that was cute, and they also thought that's practical. They go under the brush, and they bring stuff back to you. So they kept that lineage going of dwarves. That's like breeding dwarf humans. You could do that too. So they will pass that on genetically, and so that's how the dwarf bloodhounds came into existence. They're called European Basset Hounds, and they made it around the whole world. They made it into every country. They're so popular, but obviously they're still rare in comparison to other dog breeds. So obviously, and the papa got a lot of stares from people. People were like, one time we were at Home Depot. I was walking the papa there on the chest harness, and people were going way out of their ways to avoid him. I was like, what's going on? Why are they afraid of him? Because the papa is like the most leaned back dog in the whole world. And suddenly I come around the corner, and this guy looks at me, and suddenly he sees the papa, and he literally flew backwards. This big guy, this handyman type of guy. He flew backwards, and then he felt so embarrassed that I saw that he was he was startled like that by the papa dog. And I said, that's just a papa dog. He's not gonna hurt anyone. He's leaned back, I said to him. And the guy felt so embarrassed. I could see it in his face. That was funny. The papa just looking like them. What's wrong with that guy? Yeah. And now we still have the city van, and that is not very practical with an American Staffordshire. So we traveled with him, the city van, a couple of times, but it was absolutely uncomfortable and miserable. And even when we traveled in between the dogs, it was miserable and uncomfortable. So that's why I'm finally putting my foot down, So particularly, when you have these steel wheel casings that all have the wheels underneath, the back wheels, and you sleep uncovered without sleeping bag over your hip, and your hip is leaned against the steel casings without anything protecting you, and you fall asleep and you don't notice it, and you're sleeping for 2-3 hours like this in that same position, you're gonna wake up screaming. You're gonna wake up with some serious joint pain, hip pain. And that's what happened to me. So then I realized there's no way I would have to cover those wheel casings with camping pads and with an emergency blanket and all of that. Like the emergency blanket is for backpacking, and that's very lightweight, and it is sort of structured like this material of the greenhouse, but it has a silver lining on one side, which gives you heat insulation. It retains the heat. It bounces off the heat and keeps it under the blanket. So that's what I'm going to have to use if we go camping with this van. But I'm trying to talk Paul into getting, well, first of all, the Cybertruck. We wanted the Cybertruck, but it's back ordered and for years, and we need a larger van now. Okay, and the Cybertruck would also not be the completely ideal vehicle, because we need a van. We need a really large van or a bus, and the Cybertruck is not a van. It's larger, much larger than the city van here, and you have more space, but you have to dock down. He has a camping version where you have a pop-up tent. I don't want that. That's the storm can blow that down, and that doesn't feel very secure. So I would definitely just use the truck version of it, and we would have to put some kind of hard shell truck cover over it, or maybe a large hard shell cover or something, or he even has that on it, I don't know. So, but that's not ideal, because then you still have to dock down and all of that, and that's what we really need. We need a very large van where you can stand up in it, like a motorhome type of van version with a tall roof, or a really large bus. They make very, very amazing electric buses by GMC. That lady Barra, I think is her name, Mary Barra. She makes, Elon Musk's helping her. She is making these really, really large van buses. Those are cargo buses. Those are for transporting things. Those are for companies, corporations, and the individual buyer cannot get one. So I tried. I wanted one. We wanted one of those fully electric amazing buses, amazing. Of course, people are back ordering those until 2044, when we have the singularity by then. So, I mean, that's ridiculous. We can't wait that long. So we're gonna have to, cross our dreams, our wildest dreams, with the electric bus or van, and we're gonna have to order a Ford all-wheel drive trail van. So those are nice too, but they're not electric, but they are rugged terrain vans, and they're very large, and they're good for our purposes. So we're gonna have to get one of those, probably a diesel version. And so hopefully we're gonna get one of those this year. And hopefully we're going to sell the other house this year, before the mafia continues with their legislation, and this country becomes Armageddon and a tribal system. So then we're going to have a complete economic collapse. And so let's hope that this doesn't happen. Let's hope the Biden mafia does not continue. That's all I can say to this, because it's going to get scary if they do continue. And I think the vast majority of people understand this now. They really do. Don't let Robert Kennedy take votes away from Donald Trump. I like him a lot. So far, he's mainly taking votes away from Joe Biden, which is good. But I will hope that it is between Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy in the end. That would be great. But I don't trust the mafia at all. They won't allow either one of them in the White House. They'll do all kinds of things. They'll do what the people do at the equator in South America. I don't even want to say it, So the mafia doesn't want either one of them. The mafia wants those that can be bought. Okay, Joe Biden and Harris and Rice and those type of people. The people that can be bought. The people that are bought. The recruits, the collaborators. That's the ones they work with. They don't want good Samaritans, kind-hearted people the kind-hearted people that don't have a price, that don't take the bribe money. No, they don't want those. They want the crooks, of course. So, and that becomes scary and life-threatening to those people that are powerful and that care, that have compassion, like Donald Trump, Robert Kennedy, Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson. So it's those and that lady Nicole, I forgot the last name now, that Robert Kennedy chose. And anyone who's kind, Ingrid Newkirk, anyone who becomes popular, who gets leverage, who gets power.
Okay.
Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, so alright, take him for a walk. Okay, be careful. Tulsi Gabbard is great, So people that don't have a price, So yeah, I think Donald Trump will take Tulsi Gabbard as vice president, and that would be great. That would be really, really great. But the mafia, they have both feet in the door now, the mafia. This Biden administration, also Barack Obama gave them a lot of leverage. But I think, with this Biden administration, the mafia has both feet in the door now. They can basically do anything. They have so much leverage. That's why they're bringing refugees in, because they're recruits. They're perfect pawns for them. that's their military, that's their collaborators, that's their hitman. Okay, so that's why they're bringing them in, because they will 100% work for the mafia, for organized crime. Yeah, that's why they're bringing them in, because they can use them. Okay, and they don't care if the country falls apart because of that. So it's a sad story, all of this. So this is a very pivotal year, 2024. So I don't know what will all happen this year. Okay, I'm scared. I'm very worried about this. Very worried. So we're gonna have to sell this house, the other house. We're gonna have to trade this van in for a Ford van, a large one. It will not be an electric, which is sad, but we have to take the right step. I mean, the necessary step forward. We would much rather have that van in fully electric, but they don't make them. So, but we need that van. Okay, we need it for our needs. And all the electric vehicles are all booked out, sold out, and way in advance. So by years. Okay, so we have to have this van, and then we go from there. And then if the economy collapses, at least we'll have that van. So, and then I don't know what will all happen if the mafia continues the legislation. We have no idea what might happen with increasing affirmative action and all of that. It can really become something like what happened to my great-grandmother on the eastern part of Germany. Okay, that's what happened to her in 1960, somewhere around 1960, when the government, the Soviet Union, was sending families into her house to live there for free. I mean, she wasn't even getting rent. They would just send families into her house to live there with her. That was the Soviet Union. Okay, so that was not wokeism, because they would give that service to everyone. It's not dependent on your skin color. So a lot of things were done right during the Soviet Union. So people got their teeth done, they got health care and all of this. But when someone had a large house, as my great-grandmother had, a European, then the government thought, well, she doesn't need to occupy every one of the floors. Okay, it was a medieval. It was like that house was built somewhere around late 1500s. I mean, like early 1600s. So really, really antique, old, amazing building that had several levels. For that time, only the real aristocratic people, the wealthiest of the wealthiest could have a house built like that. And it has this ornamental door. Amazing. My mother, after she passed away, then my mother and her cousins, they sold it and split the money among each other. They got a lot of money for that. But during the Soviet Union, they thought, she doesn't need that. She doesn't need to live there alone in this big house. So we're going to just send several families there. I think like 10 families moved in that house. So each floor had like 2 units or 3 even, like living units. And she had the top floor apartment that was quite large, and we went there, my mother and I visited her, and I will never forget that. It was it was an amazing atmosphere. It was like going back in time. It was I felt like I was going into a time machine. It was amazing. really amazing. Because my great-grandmother, she still lived there like she's always lived. With the same clothes and the same ornaments and the same interior and same old books and the same amazing Zwiebelmuster decor and potteries and tea kettle. Amazing, really amazing. So yeah, but now we will not only have something that they had during the Soviet Union, which also had good things. This time we will have that what Patrick Rove accuses me of being, but he is doing it and supporting something that is 1,000,000 times worse than the Soviet Union. Okay, he is supporting something that is racist, that is unfair, that goes against human rights, that goes against civil rights, that goes against homeowners' rights, that goes against any kind of health code or safety code that you normally would have in a fair democracy. So now there is a chance that they will figure, the regular white person, who has one house or whatever, they don't need their house. We'll just send a refugee in there and kick them out. Okay. So it can happen. It could. Okay. So I don't know what the future is going to bring. And then white people are already chased out onto the street, into their buses and motorhomes. They already are. Unbelievably many, millions, that are losing their homes because they can't afford the property tax anymore, or they can't afford whatever other taxes. So because the taxes they keep going up. They have to get their money somewhere for the wokeism, right? So they take it away from people that work for their house and their money for 60 years at Safeway, working their butt off, right? For 60 frickin' years, these people would work at Safeway or whatever, or McDonald's, or in some lousy job, tedious, earning their money diligently, thinking, I'm going to retire finally at 70 and I'll be able to buy my dream motorhome or my dream home that they worked their whole life for. And they get their home and they celebrate, they're very happy. And then economy falls, the taxes going up, then they can't afford to, they can't work anymore because now they're old or whatever, they're retired, or they're dismissed or laid off or whatever. And then they can't pay for that anymore, even if they have paid it all free and clear. Paid all of it off, all the loans and whatever. Or they paid it all at once, were able to, because of the money they saved up. And then they live in that house for 1 year, and then they can't afford to live in that house anymore because they can't afford to pay the property tax anymore. And this is happening, okay? It breaks my heart to see that. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And then you see, what the wokeism does, that the refugees that come here, they get their citizenship very quickly. And Germans that come here don't get their citizenship. Okay, so that's how it works. This is total race-based injustice, and it's criminal, and I don't know what's going to happen. So it's good to be prepared. It's good to think about these things. It's good to not just make jokes, crack jokes all day long, you know. I mean, it's okay to make a joke here and there and not lose track of the now moment, right? But you also have to think a little bit ahead. You have to plan. You have to plan for all kinds of disasters that might happen. Okay, so, and things are very uncertain right now. This is not a time of prosperity for this country or worldwide. That's for sure. So, yeah, we'll see. You know, I hope we get a hot spring property, and even if things get really tricky, then we might have to live in that van. Okay, so we don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up. Peace and love.